3-year-old, 4-year-olds, and 5-year-olds can't lie and say, you know, mommy told me this. They're not going to lie. Mommy told me this. A divorce is divorce. If we're not in love, we did bring children into the world. We loved each other at one point. Things could have been fixed instead of just the whole Long Island just jumping into divorce. And Suffolk County's making a lot of money from it. I've spent a lot of money with my lawyers. I'm talking close to $100,000. That could have been for my children's future instead of this being settled. Yes, I prolonged it. Yes, I fought the system. I thought I could. I tried to think things in my way. I took everybody else's advice. And then I took my lawyer's advice. Things got worse. And now I'm in a situation where my kids are the ones getting the bad end of the stick.
And when you try to reach out to your children on just a regular basis, let's say not the supervised visits, what ends up happening to you? Or what has been presented to you or told?
Well, I'm not allowed to call the house. I'm not allowed to call my wife due to an order of protection, which is called a stay away. We had an argument. When I was younger, my parents did argue. And sometimes they argue, things did come out, and things do get settled. You do make up. And I saw it growing up in my own house. I didn't tell my parents to go get divorced. Nobody got divorced back in the day. You were one of a kind then. The epidemic, me being in the wedding business, every other client of mine is now divorced. And what I hear, they're all out of money, broke. The lawyers are the only ones making out from this whole thing. And I just wish someone can step forward and make a little effort for my children, for my wife and my children, for myself, and to make everything go in a smoother direction rather than just keep fighting and arguing.
So the lawyers and the judges don't even let you give you the opportunity to speak your heart?
Not at all.
They just tell you to sit there and deal with whatever's being dealt to you?
When it's my time to talk, there is none. That's why you have a lawyer. And when it's time that I want to do something, they change the subject. Comes down to a house, let's talk about your finances. Comes down to children, let's talk about your retirement. Everything comes down to a different scenario. And when I want to talk about my kids, going back to going on Google and looking for a lawyer, every single lawyer in Long Island, from Nassau, Suffolk, it's false. And I'm looking at it to where it's not about the kids. It's about the retainer, a pedente lite, which when everybody gets divorced is running on emotion. Never read the fine lines and just sign and put themselves into a lifetime of things they never thought they were going to get into. Between bills, houses, cars, downgrading. If you're getting divorced, it's a business. And if you sell your business, most of the time you're downgrading. And if you're upgrading, you're not getting divorced, you're staying married. And in this situation, I've taken a lot of advices from lawyers. I've lived in my car. I've lived in hotels. I've lived in family homes. And all the advice has come from lawyers. Because if I can prove that I live in another house, that makes me the millionaire. If I can prove that I can live here, and with the economy going on right now, it's making it harder and harder for all of us. And telling my children that I'm a bad father, I'm a bad this, I don't know if that's happening or if it's true. But right now, I can't say goodnight, I can't be with them, I can't go to school with them until the order of protection is dropped, until further notice.
And how long will that order of protection take place?
It did expire, but the courts, for some unknown reason, don't see it expired. And my wife's saying that I'm unfit around children kind of makes me wonder, what am I doing for a living? I did ask the judge, do you know what I do for a living? And nobody in the whole courtroom can answer me. Going through a 7-day trial. Nobody can answer what I do for a living. But I guaranteed on this video, when people see my face, from all my clients in Roslyn, Hewlett, Dixels, Merrick, lawyers, doctors, accountants, knowing I'm one more statistic of a divorce, but I'm taking pictures of all their children. Their children are 3, 5, 7, 9. I'm helping them with diapers. I'm helping them with their hair, their clothes, their just well-being, and bringing them into a room, carrying them. I think I'm great to children. And if I had to bring all my clients into court, they would all tell you the same thing. In the courtroom, they don't know my life. That judge had a great night, something good's coming out of it. The other lawyers are just sitting there behind the scenes, arguing with each other on the telephone, not knowing who I am.
Are there any maybe therapists or doctors that are in the courtroom when the court's taking place, watching out for the benefit of the child, or the children, I should say?
Yes, I brought that up before. Law guardians. Now we're just getting into more financials. Every time you use a lawyer, they're $500 an hour. And they talk about numbers in the court system like they're talking about $5. And in the economy now, in the business I'm in the business that everybody else is in, there is nobody making millions on Long Island anymore. Everybody's hurting. To where when lawyers call you, oh, just mail a check, just send me a check. It shouldn't go that route. When you get a chance, pay me. I've already given you $15,000. You go through $15,000 in 2 weeks. And I realized spending almost $100,000 of all my saved money that I worked my whole life for to go out the window. I have accomplished nothing in 3 years except I don't have a home, I don't have my wife, and I don't have my children. It's all gone, and I've spent $100,000. What do I see at the end of this? Nothing. Except 2 children being severely needing psychological help through this. Because there's no way just a woman or just a man, it takes a father and a mother to raise these children together to make their lives as best as possible.
Under all circumstances, and putting aside their differences and looking out for the best of those kids, because they are our future.
Yes. So if my wife had a bad day, good day, if I had a good day, bad day, I'm still going to bring my kids up. I'm never going to downgrade her, downgrade me. That's how it should be.
Right.
These kids should come first. Not listening to an attorney or listening to a judge telling me it's about your children. I haven't heard it once. Now, in 3 years, how are your kids today? Did you see your kids? How's school? What grade are they in? But all my clients are asking me now, how are your children? I bite my tongue. My tongue is bitten, it's gone. My heart's in half, and I'm trying to deny it, hide it. You cannot get rid of this.
What would your next steps be at this point? What is your next step? What would you like it to be?
Borrowing money from people to go back to court. I wish there was better rights for men on Long Island and in the Suffolk and Nassau County courts, in the Supreme Court. That's something that could help men, rather than just say, oh, he's the provider, and he's the guy paying the bills, and he's the guy. That's all I hear is, I'm the guy, and I'm the guy. Meanwhile, my wife does have a job. My wife went to Ithaca College. My wife went to Iona. She works in a bond firm. She makes money. I'm self-employed. If I have a good day, bad day, I can't control my income. It takes 2 to make it on Long Island these days. And in the settlement, when it does come down to it, I'm the one paying child support. I'm the one paying the home. I'm the one paying for health benefits. I'm the one paying for everything. What happens when you can't pay for it all, or not pay for it all, or try to pay for some of it? You get incarcerated. And that's the final outlook of every single divorce. And if a man, which I am self-employed, it's just a matter of time when someone comes through the door and says, excuse me, you owe $5,000 for child support. Meanwhile, my wife sometimes makes more money than I do. It's not fair on our end as a male.
And there really is no price on the children, because the point is, the time that you're losing is time that you'll never get back, because everybody forgets that we don't get time.
100%.
And like you had mentioned, you don't get to see your children do the things and have the moments where you can just laugh with them or run around with them.
Go to sleep, play. I was 21. My father passed away. I'm 44. I had children. I started at 39, 40. I don't know how long I have to be on this earth. And the most amount of years I could put and raise these children to get them to where they have to get, I have to give them more time than usual. And I've learned in my business, I've brought more people, lose money, so I can take more time off. But now it's too late, because now I'm going through divorce. And it's not in my favor to say now I'm ready to give my kids more time. Now my son's graduating from elementary school. My daughter's graduating from church. I didn't see any of it.
Because they won't let you.
They won't let me in the courts.
You can't even send a card, or you can't even send
Not allowed
a
to send.
Skype or anything like that.
Not
'cause they,
email, pictures. There is nothing involved. I cannot. I have my hands tied. I have to look at it where I get mail. I have to answer it. I have to pay money to my Ferrari outside and not have a key to it.
So due to the fact that you have such restraints on it in their side of the family, you're non-existent, other than when it comes to a checkbook.
Yes. It's all about the money. It's not, Daddy, I love you, and my daughter love you, and walking through a mall for 20 minutes and saying, okay, now it's time to go back with Mommy, and whenever they call, they call. And if that's how people are being brought up this day, it's going to be a very bad future for America, because I was never brought up like that. Neither anybody else I know was brought up like that.
So when you saw your children at the mall, and you had those 22 hours, and that last 20 minutes, and did they ask you, or did your son ask you, are you coming home?
Yes, every time. We want you home, we want to sleep with you, and at that moment, with the order of protection involved, I never told my children anything bad, which was a false altercation that Daddy can't come home because of Mommy. I just said, I'll eventually be home. Not to upset my children any more than all they did was cry to me. And saying goodbye is rougher and rougher every time, to where I don't know if I'm ever going to see them again. But all I know is the court's not afraid to send me a letter that I owe, the lawyers I owe, and there's something out there, and it's not something, they're my children. And I have to pay for them, and I don't get to see them. And it's a very, very, very difficult situation.
And I can see it through your eyes and through your heart, and you know, I can't stress enough that they need to do something about this, because a father and a mother need to be involved in the relationship, and they need to put their bitter differences aside, regardless, for the best of the kids.
You know, I'm a monster in the court's eyes, and all men are. We're just monsters. We're not, oh, he's a great guy. I've done 1,000 weddings, 1,000 bar mitzvahs, 1,000 sweet 16s. I've made a lot of people's memories, dreams, and I have a lot of people still turn to me for advice. They ask me, help me. I have a lot of good friends around me, but they don't want to keep hearing this. If they've never been married, they don't have children, they don't understand what I'm going through. And the people that do understand, it turns them bitter towards this whole situation. Now I have all these bitter people around me just trying to help me. And we can't make a phone call. There is no hotline to say, help. You're on drugs, you're on alcohol. There's a help. There's no help for men to say, I need help. What do I do? All I read about on the internet is to help the wife collect her child support, incarcerate your husband. The guy has a job or no job, incarcerate him. That's not going to make you money with your husband in jail.
Right.
All it's going to do is make his arrears go higher and get everybody more bitter. Yeah. And you're going to affect these children. My children are sponges, and it's all going to do is affect my children down the road.
Well, because they're only going to know what they see from one side as opposed to hearing it from what's going on.
Yeah. And life should not be pulled back and forth like that. Right and wrong is one thing, opinions is another. We just need to make something change for the courts, for us fathers, for the children, rather than just be brought up as a money and a legal issue and being threatened. If I don't pay the cable bill, if I don't pay the water bill, I'm going to jail. What happens if I can't pay it? Is that give the right to put me in jail?
No.
Do we have to live with cable? We have to live with water. But I still don't see my children. So until I see them, I'm going to go further and further. If I have to go up the up rankings of television and find someone in a higher ranking or priority outside the courts to help me, I have to do that.
Yeah. I think you should, and bravo, because that's what you need. You need to get those kids back into your life.
Thank you for your time.